All right, good morning, Alta agents. This is Kevin Lauren. I'm the Director of Training and Marketing here. And today we're going to be joined by DJ Bibb, and we're going to go through a technique or a strategy to make sure that we steal our clients away from Zillow, Redfin, Trulia, all those other sites that we know our clients are always checking out real estate on. But if we can bring them onto our sites and into our network of viewing things, we do a lot better and we stay connected with them. And so it's just a much better program. So DJ is going to talk to us all about that. So we're excited for that. Before we get into today's presentation, I'm going to bring Bill Seitz, the corporate broker for ARG, on the line. And good morning, Bill.
Good morning, Kevin. Good morning, everybody.
Yeah, we've got a couple of new agents on the line I'd like to welcome. We've got Nelson Hernandez that just joined us. So great to have you aboard, Nelson. I believe I have a orientation with you later, so I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, thanks for joining us, Nelson. And also thanks for joining us, all of our regulars.
Yeah, absolutely. Good morning, Nelson. Welcome aboard. This is our weekly meeting, is where we get together as a company and go through all things real estate.
For sure.
Okay, Kevin, Amelia is working with a client this morning. She's pricing out a loan. So I will just do a quick little snapshot here on the mortgage update.
All
Looking
right. I'll bring up the 10-year treasury.
There you go. So yeah, we're still trending down, which is nice. 4.23 this morning. We're down 6 basis points from yesterday, coming into the Fed meeting in September. So still kind of undetermined on if there will be a rate reduction, but kind of all indications are that there will be. The question will be are the markets already anticipating this? So this is why the 10-year and mortgage rates are trickling down. A lot of times you hear the term baked in, or it's already been factored into the decision. The smart minds, the real smart minds, somehow know with their crystal ball which way this thing is going to go. So, but we keep an eye on it every week, as you guys know. So we keep you up to date on everything in finance related. And so yeah, we'll keep a close eye on this one.
Absolutely. It's kind of like the odds makers in Vegas, right, Bill?
Exactly. You know, they're the ones setting the line and setting where we're gonna, have to borrow money from. So, there's some similarities there.
For sure.
Real quick, Kevin, I
Yeah, go
want to
ahead.
go through the two broker tips. 2 weeks ago, I said, and a lot of times I actually choose the topic for the broker tip based on what I'm experiencing with you guys as questions arise, or agents are needing some sort of advice. And a lot of these day-to-day activities trigger my topics for the week. And I think last week for some reason, we had a big full webinar, so I didn't actually go into the previous weeks, but it was the FHA mandatory clause. And so there was one of our agents asked me, hey, what does this mean exactly? And so basically what the FHA mandatory clause is, for those of you that haven't done an FHA deal in a while, or just aren't familiar, it's basically a provision that allows home buyers that are using an FHA loan to back out of a purchase if the property's appraisal comes in lower than the agreed upon sales price, so they can recover their earnest money. So this is a mandatory for FHA loans, and basically it protects buyers from overpaying for a property. So it's really important to remember that this supersedes any offer with an appraisal contingency being waived. So you might get this great offer, and they're waiving their appraisal, and it's FHA financing and it's looking great, and you're like, okay, cool, they're not gonna bounce if the appraisal comes in low because they waived it. Well, it doesn't matter, this supersedes that. So that's really important to remember and to recognize if you are looking at FHA offers, and depending how they're structured, keep that in mind. And
That's a big one right there. But yeah, how about this week?
Yeah, so this week was once again I was working with Mel Chappelle on a deal that she's having a issue with. It's a condo community, and a lot of the condo communities these days are, depending on where you're working, are older, may have issues, may have work being done, or there's all sorts of things that could be going on within a condo community. But the main reasons for condos that would be considered non-warrantable is if they're incomplete. That's pretty obvious. High investor concentrations, so a single person or entity can't own more than 10% of the units. And similarly, high rental concentration. Usually, they don't want more than 50% of the units to be rented out as short-term rentals or even long-term rentals. Um, Litigation, that's a big one. Everyone's probably pretty familiar with that. A lot of condo communities get into litigation, and also financial instability of the HOA community. So, Fannie, Freddie, FHA, VA, or USDA financing requires that these things be stable. And so, if you come across this, you might find financing becoming difficult, or so it's really important to ask these questions up front if you're working with a buyer and they want to buy into these condo communities, because while financing is not impossible, it makes it very difficult to get top terms and top, interest rate, terms for your client. And it can delay the closing, delay the, basically your contractual obligations. So just make sure if you are going into a condo community that you have these questions answered.
No, great point, Bill. All right, well, thank you for that. As usual, great insights, Bill. So now we are going to bring DJ Bibb on the line. And DJ, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you loud and clear. How are you this morning, DJ?
I'm good, thanks. Thank you again for having me.
Absolutely.
Always love to be
So,
here with you guys.
yeah, so I'm really glad you've chosen today's topic. It's something that we talk about all the time on these webinars is, steering our clients into our network of, viewing, our homes and our single property websites. And so I'm excited to hear what you've got to say about today.
Oh, terrific. Yeah, this is a strategy that is pretty new to me, and I've heard it from, our other clients that are, in Northern California and in, parts of Southern California, and really starting to happen throughout the country. So I wanted to be sure to share it with you guys, as it's something that may become more commonplace, but even more so because I see a lot of benefits to the strategy. So I'll just dive right in. So as we all know, for years and years now, the MLS has really, call it what you want, a disservice, whatever. They've syndicated the MLS data and all the agents' listings and their data to companies like Redfin, Zillow, Trulia, who have become, one, they used it to create their own leads and to sell those leads, but now they've become, competitors with the agents. And so this strategy is all about using that setup to kind of fight back against those entities, those syndicates, and to generate the leads for the agents and to bring the business, back home to the agents. And so the basic concept is, when you're inputting a listing into the MLS, rather than giving all the information up front like we always have, right? Let's use the best photos we have. Let's get our nice lengthy property description. Let's really try to sell this property through the MLS, right? And then all these other companies, they use that to their own advantage. So the strategy is, rather than doing it that way, let's start putting the bare minimum into the MLS. And when I say bare minimum, I mean still enough to be very intriguing, but let's not give it all away for nothing, right? So let's put, whatever the MLS requires, is it 5 photos for a property? Let's put the 5 most basic generic photos. Let's make the property look good, but let's not give them the impression that they've seen it all. Let's want them to want to see more. And with the property description, let's do the bare minimum. Let's satisfy the requirements of the MLS 5-bedroom, 3-bath, 4,000 square foot home. But for full property description, full photo library, and full, buyer agent compensation details, click here, right? And put a big QR code. Let's grab their attention, redirect them to a site that we control. And the idea is not to exclude anybody from those sites, right? But let's have them register with a name and an email address, and then a designation of whether they're an agent, a buyer, a seller. Let's get a category for them, and then they get access. We want everybody in. We want everybody to see the property. We just want to know who they are, and we want to do it through a site that we control. And in doing this, right, now all these Zillows and Redfins, they're forced to, they just republish and syndicate whatever's in the MLS. So now we're using them, right, to drive traffic back to the agent's single property website, where the agent gets to display the property, get to do the videos of the property, get to talk about the buyer's agent compensation that they're not allowed to put in the MLS. They get to put the full property description, really, accentuating the property. And we're hosting, and we're keeping all those leads right here, in our own sites. And in doing that, right now we've built a database of every buyer who's looked at the site. We've built a database automatically of every agent that has viewed these properties. And we then get to be creative and clever and create moments of urgency. When buyers are looking at a new home, right, a brand new home from a home builder, they release these homes in phases. And there's a price point associated with each phase release. And there's a limited release of each phase. And there's this big sense of urgency. Like, if I don't get in, I might miss out. I might not get one of these, or I might have to pay more, right? We want to create that urgency that's not always in the marketplace to try to sell a property. So, when we have a listing and we're going to have a price reduction, maybe you can go into this database of everybody who's looked at the property and say, hey, we see that you've expressed interest in this property. We know you viewed it. The seller has just agreed to do a dramatic price reduction. It's going to hit the MLS on Friday. If you would like to address this property, if you'd like to submit your offer, if you'd like to get involved before you're competing again with the general public in the full marketplace, let us know. Here's a 24-hour, 48-hour head start, as you will. So contact me right away. So you can create these little moments of urgency and excitement over a property. And you can send that to the agents who've looked at it, the buyers who've looked at it. And so that's really kind of the strategy. And you can explain this to your sellers that, hey, we're really wanting to bring these people in ourselves and talk about the properties ourselves, rather than trusting, these other, shops to kind of, to accentuate our property. We want to be in full control of the information. So anyhow, in a nutshell, that's the strategy. And there's several sites out there that will help agents. They can pick and choose their programs, but I'm not here to promote any of those sites. But there are sites designed to simply and easily create single property website landing pages. You can create QR codes, and you can implement all of this into an email blast strategy, right? Where you're promoting these single property websites. You can use it in social media. You can use it in your CRM. There's really no end to the ways you can try to drive traffic to these sites, but agents are starting to do this, and it's really quite genius in my opinion, because you're really taking the competitive edge back from the Zillows of the world.
I love this strategy, DJ. And so our agents use the Sierra Interactive system. And so we are able to, create these beautiful single property websites. We do, we can force the viewer to register in order to see it. We can display every single thing, floor plans, Matterport tours, Zillow tours, you know, the locations, obviously, all the information. We can put in, exactly like you said, we can put in the full, you know, description of the property. We can even discuss the, you know, the seller or the buyer agent compensation, all those things, which really, you know, can help our agents collect that buyer data, and even collect the information from the you know, the other agents that are looking at it. So really, really cool. The other thing that we're able to do is, like you said, we're able to create these, you know, in our system, instead of just having a standard drip campaign, we have what are called action plans. And so I'll just show all the agents that don't currently have this. So if somebody comes to the website, and this is a web registration lead system that we've created. So the first thing that's going to happen within the first 3 minutes of them registering is they're going to get a voicemail in their phone, and it goes something like this. Hi, this is Kevin Warren with Alta Realty Group here in Newport Beach. Just wanted to thank you for visiting my website. And I think you were on there just a little bit ago. But if I can help you with any of your upcoming home move needs or any searches, please let me know. And I'll try back again a little bit later today. Thanks a lot. So then it's followed by a text message, 15 minutes later, and then 30 minutes later, an email. So we are able to, you know, and then of course it goes into day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 7. And so we're able to stay on top of these leads and be right in front of them to make sure that we are getting them all the information. We're super proactive. These things are completely editable. So, you know, and of course each agent, you know, records their own voice, their own information. If you don't like the voicemail messages, you can just delete that part of the, you know, of the action plan. But really, really powerful stuff, DJ, that we're able to take your strategy and put it into our system and make sure that we're capturing all those leads in our CRM and then following up with them properly.
I love it, Kevin. Some people might think it's over the top, it's too much. Personally, I love it because these other companies, you know, Redfin, Zillow, et cetera, they're tech companies. They're doing all of these things to try to win over the attention of these consumers. And so adopting exactly the same strategies and, you know, to harness them, I think it's a necessity almost in this coming market.
For sure. And so, yeah, go ahead, Bill.
And maybe I missed this. When you input the if I get a new listing and I input just kind of the, like you said, the very, very basic information to you want the, you know, buyer or agent or whoever to want more information. Did you say that you putting in the comments, you trying to direct them to the one party or the single property website?
Correct. Yeah, people have put it in the comments, and they'll put the single party website, and they'll say full property description, full photo library, full compensation information, you know, in this link below. People will do it there in the comments. People will also put a QR code in the photos. There's been, you know, agents who every single photo, you know, and we're doing limited photos, right? But we're doing like 1 to 5 photos. But they've put the QR code in the photo saying, for more photos, you know, click the QR code. For more details, click the QR code.
So yeah, so when they syndicate it, that that redirect is going out to Zillow and Redfin and everybody.
Yeah, they can't take it out. They can't edit it out of there.
That's almost brilliant. You know what I mean? It really is.
It's using them to promote yourselves and your own properties rather than giving them your listing to try to go sell.
That is phenomenal, DJ. Bill, I just clued into that aspect of it. So in like the bottom whatever right corner, you're just gonna, of every image that you upload into the MLS, you're just gonna have a little QR code that goes to the single property website, right?
Correct.
Brilliant.
I mean, that's the genius of it, is you're using them to promote yourself and your website.
Love that. And then, obviously people want it, it's human nature to, go, oh yeah, I know I want to see the rest of the images.
Yeah. I want to know more about the property, And
Well,
an agent, right? They want to know about they don't want to pick up the phone and call every listing agent and ask about the buyer's agent compensation. They're going to click, if they're halfway interested, they're going to click the QR code just to find out the commission details.
wow, love it. I'm really excited to start working, with some of our agents and testing the system out, because that's just absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, it's a game changer, really. If you really think it through, I mean, if you line all this stuff up, as just kind of pushing people where you want them to go, and eliminating the big elephants in the room, you're going to be very successful.
Yeah, and then we already, train our agents to, when they're working with their buyers, to, utilize our websites. Hey, use my website. It's connected to the MLS. You can search for properties there. We have it's even the layouts are much better than the MLS. All the information's there. Everything looks really clean. There's even more, really than most of the MLS, layouts. And so this is just taking that one step further and forcing people that we don't know into our systems and into our
Right.
single property
And you're
website. Yeah.
capturing their credentials, their email address and their name. And at the bottom of your site where you're displaying the single property, you can put other properties and you can drag their interest there. You can put follow me on Instagram, and now they're really attached to you.
Oh yeah, no, sky's the limit there. Just like a lot of times on these webinars, like, we kind of, you just piqued my interest. Now I'm thinking about how to use it 100 different ways. And, Bill always mentions that as well. It's like, oh my gosh, now I'm thinking a whole different way now.
That was the goal. I wanted to bring you a concept and let you guys run with it the way you see.
No, very cool.
Yeah, Kevin. So if agents are interested and they're not connected to our Sierra system, that would be something they would want to connect with you on how to get involved with Sierra, understand how we can, from a back end infrastructure wise, create this method to utilize their listings and start capturing these buyer leads and kind of redesigning their business and how they because that's essentially what you're doing, right? You're kind of rethinking and redesigning what you've kind of normally done in this business, and I think it's actually a more streamlined way to go, to be honest.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. So thanks for that, Bill. Yeah. So getting involved, if you don't have the Sierra system, that's part of our program too. It's only $99 a month, and you do get full access to a complete, website, single property websites. It's connected to the MLS. Very, very robust follow-up system with the CRM. Everything's, tracked through the CRM. Obviously, I am a huge proponent of all of our agents having a CRM, having their client list. Your client list is your business. So yeah, all you didn't do is just ping me, call me, email me, text me, and I can get you guys set up with this. All right, perfect. Well,
One
DJ,
last thing, because I mean,
go ahead.
the reality is you can't do this if you don't have the system behind it. It just doesn't work. You got to have the infrastructure and the capacity to collect the information and the contacts, and then you got to have the single property websites and all the bells and whistles to make, if this is interesting to you, this is that you definitely have to invest in that.
Oh, absolutely. So, as DJ said, there's all kinds of systems like this. The Sierra system is a really slick system. It's easy to use. We've, gone in and out of different CRM systems. Some of them are very, very cumbersome. They're very clunky. This one's really, really, a lot more easy to use. And so I recommend the Sierra interactive system for our agents.
Yeah, that's great. And let's plug DJ before he leaves. As many of you know, DJ works with Fidelity Title. He's an amazing resource. Not only does he know stuff like this in marketing, which shows you his value, but he's also amazing at what he does in the title world. So if you don't have a great person to go to for your title stuff, he does all the the dirty title work too, right? Reviewing prelims and helping remove liens and all that stuff that the fun stuff of this business. So DJ's an amazing guy. I've known him a long time. And so if you guys don't have him locked into your phone, don't have him on speed dial, you should probably do that because he's my go-to when I have calls or issues. And yeah.
Thanks, Bill. I appreciate the plug. And yeah, everyone, two things I want to say. One, if you're getting ready to take a listing, it's never too soon to give us a call. Let us help pull comps for you. Make sure you didn't miss anything that may have occurred off market. And then once you have that listing signed, let us confirm that vesting for you so that you have all your contracts accurate and in line. And then it's never too soon to start on the preliminary title report. That way we can get ahead of any surprises and we have time to cure anything that needs be. So that's my 2 cents. I try to hit home. It's never too soon to get us involved with what you're working on.
For sure. And on your screen now is DJ's contact information. I'll, of course, have DJ's contact information on the replay when I send it out later today. And so, yeah, 949-533-6900 is DJ's direct number. And so he is a resource for you. And so don't hesitate to contact him.
Well, DJ, thank you so much for coming on today. We're kind of overdue for you to have a DJ meeting. So glad this one was as profound as we thought it was going to be.
Thanks, guys. My pleasure. I always appreciate being here with you guys. So thanks for having me.
Awesome. Well, thanks, DJ. Thanks, Bill. And thank you, agents, for joining us. So with that said, get out there, make it a great week and a productive week. And we will see you guys on the webinar next Wednesday. Bye-bye.